guys, today's project I am going to be using the sketch pens. I ordered some of the silhouette sketch pens because I thought it would be fun to have a go. Now I haven't tried this at all in advance, so I'm literally going to be learning along with you. So the first thing I did was go into the store, and if you go into the silhouette store, there is a section, if you go down here, that you can click on sketch, and it brings up all the different types of sketch pen images that are for sale. So it's nice and easy. So I went in there and I purchased a project from that, and it's these little aliens. So I'm just in my library here. I'm going to click on the little aliens and pop that on my mat. I'm going to leave it at the size that they're at because for the purposes for today I don't want to fiddle around with the sizing, making it smaller in case this is an optimum size for the project. So because I want to not just draw it out, but I actually want to cut them out as well, pop this up into the corner, and then we're going to go off and, I was going to say cut this out, draw this on the silhouette. Okay, so here we are at the silhouette, and these are the sketch pens, and I've got a nice selection of colours here. Now, it's little aliens, so I was thinking that maybe the green or the orange would be quite cool. Okay, so then we pop. Now, I don't know if you're supposed to put this in before or after you load your mat, so I think I'll load my mat first, just in case it catches on the nib as it goes through, and I'm sure it won't, but no point in taking a chance. Okay, so now we're going to load the pen, so I'm just going to take the lid off, pop it in the holder, nice and easy. Okay, so we've loaded our mat and we're now going to centre the silhouette, so we just go back up here, it doesn't want to move. There we go, click, and change settings. And we want here, down almost at the bottom, just around here, it says sketch pen. So then I believe this becomes irrelevant, but then press cut. It's just started to do the drawing. You can also see that I've put some sticky tape over the top of the pen. What I was finding was that the top part of the pen was actually coming out, which meant that the whole nib part was not staying in place. Like this, so as that came loose, obviously it wasn't drawing, so I was a bit disappointed with that, doing that, but I think now by just putting the tape over the top, that stopped that from being able to pop out. So okay, so as you can see, that's finished the drawing part now, and that looks quite cool. So now we need to go back to the computer and the software and start doing the section that we're going to do so that we can cut these images out now. Just to remember though, do not unload your mat at this point in time. We want to make sure that you keep the drawing in the same position so that there can be no movement, so that, because if you reloaded it, you cannot be sure that you've got it in exactly the same position so that the blade will cut in the correct place. So the first thing we are going to do is just take the pen out and replace it with the blade when we know what depth we need to do. So we'll just pop that in there for the moment and wait for our instructions on what blade depth we need. Okay, so now we're back here and we're wanting to create our cut lines. Now the first thing to note is that it's important not to move the image, because otherwise when you center the machine, the cut line will be in the wrong place compared to the drawing lines. Now currently this image is only drawing lines, so that's why we need to create a cut line. Now you have the option of cutting every single part of it out, or you can just cut round the outline, and that's what we're going to do today. So the first thing that we need to do is to trace our image in order to create an outline, cut line of, well, it doesn't have to just be outline, it will trace all of it, but I want to create the outline. So we're going to go across here to our trace window, and then it says select trace area, so we click on that, and then we go over to our mat and we just use our mouse key and we drag the box, making sure that it covers all of our image. Then you've got three options. Apply. So you've got the trace, which will trace through everything. You can see where the little dots of yellow are. You've got trace outer edge, and then you've got trace and detach. Now we don't want to trace and detach because we want it to stay in the same position. And I only want the outline, so I'm going to click on that one there. Now that doesn't look like it's done anything, but actually if we move, you can see there's our cut line. Okay, so I'm just going to hit undo so it goes back in the same position. And then the next thing we want to do is, because if we cut that out as it is, then it would just cut exactly where we've drawn, which would really spoil the image because you would kind of be cutting through that pen line. So the next thing we want to do is click on our offset. So then we're going to click so that we can pick up our cut line, hopefully, and then we're going to click on offset over here, and you can see how its default size for the offset is 1/4 of an inch, and you can see how the cut line has now gone out 1/4 of an inch. Now this would be quite a good size if we were wanting to cut this as one image. However, if you reduce this down, and if you watch that cut line, it's getting smaller and smaller, closer and closer to the actual drawing line. As you can see, as you go down, it then becomes 4 images that have been cut out. So you can do it in, as one image or as 4 little individual images. So I've got it at 205, and the reason I did that was there was this tiny little dot just over here, so I wanted to get rid of that. Okay, so we've now got our cut line sorted out. So what we now need to do is remove our drawing lines. Now what it's done is left behind this. Now I don't know, that might have been something that I had done with, because it's offset, so it leaves the original cut lines as well, and it offsets by the looks of it, it offsets the original cut line. It offsets from the original cut line, I should say, so it leaves that original cut line, so make sure you get rid of that as well. So we're just going to get rid of all of those. We don't need those now. We know that that's in the right place. So now all we need to do is send to silhouette. Okay, yes, that's right. I need to make sure I set my blade up correctly. So we've already been using the sketch pen, so we need to change that to blade. I'm on a medium paper. Okay, so that's now cutting. Seems to be working all right. Okay, so that's all done. So now we just press enter to unload, and let's see what we've got. Very carefully, and it's cut out just fine. Probably should have used the little spatula thingy, but I'm too impatient. I'm dying to see. And there we go. And then you could, if you'd done this in black or even in the green, you can now colour this in, and you've got a great embellishment for a card or a scrapbook page or whatever. It'd be interesting to, having done a project using the Silhouette sketch pens, to do a project using the Cricut sketch pens. Now, as far as I know, there are 2 types of the Cricut sketch pens. There is this sort, the Cricuts, which are thin, kind of jelly roll pens, and they get held in this holder to make it work. And then you've got your regular kind of marker pens which go straight into the blade. So that's the ones I'm going to use today, and I'm going to be using the sophisticated card. The image that I'm going for is this one here, because if you look, you can just see the clock design here. The pink, which is cut out in this layer, is slightly inside the main black cut, so it means we can draw the pink layer and then cut around and get on the outside of our drawn lines. So that's the plan. So I've already loaded my cartridge, and I'm just going to load my page. I've just got a piece of centre of pearl cardstock. So we're just going to take our blade out, so just take that off, and I've got this nice pinky colour. So just very carefully pop this in place. I'd be tempted to put a scrap of paper underneath just to make sure when you load your pen that you don't excuse me, mark the paper that you're about to draw on, your actual good piece of paper, and then just tighten that up and then remove that scrap. And it says to set the pressure to 2. It tells you this on the pen, so that's really helpful. So 2 is at low, and your speed must be at 3, which is medium. Okay, now I need to adjust the size. I think we'll take that to, let's do 4 inches. No, let's do 3.5. Okay, and I've got my material saver on. So the first one that I want to do is the shift of the clock. So the clock is here, so I want to do shift and the clock. Yeah. That's finished. Now we don't want to unload our mat, we just want to set it back to the beginning, so I think that would be that one there. So just hit load mat and it takes it back to where we started, and then I need to very carefully, let's get a scrap of paper, pop that underneath, and then very carefully remove our pen, because it's very easy, you can already see on the paper it's marked it, so it is important to do that. And then we replace with our blade. As I said with the silhouette, and the same applies here, do not unload your mat, because you will never ever be able to get it back in the same position in order to do the cut afterwards. Obviously if you're not cutting then that doesn't matter, but since we are, okay, so that's loaded, and then we need to remember that our pressure and speed are down, so I'm going to take that all the way back up. And then we're going to hit the clock circle, not on the shift, keeping everything else the same, and then hit cut. And hope that this works. And it was slightly off by the looks of it, but let's have a look. Okay, so it's very slightly off centre, which is a bit annoying, and I think that's the problem. That's the advantage with the silhouette, is that you can be sure to get that absolutely perfect. But I did like the pens on these. I like these kind of marker type pens, which I haven't got on this silhouette, but you know, I guess it's just different things for different uses. But anyway, this was what happened on the Cricut, and you saw what happened with the silhouette. So we've got our little aliens and our clock. So I just thought it would be good to see how the different machines work for the sketch pens. I hope you've enjoyed having a play with these with me, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye!